All right, today we're going to talk a little bit more about storytelling, communication. How are you getting your story across your city, what you're doing in your downtown to help change that narrative. If you have a negative narrative about your city or your downtown, the storytelling is a critical component of what you need to be doing. And today I'm going to give you, share a little bit about, how I go about doing storytelling through e-newsletter, so using Mailchimp, and what type of things I put in that newsletter to help share that narrative. So this is Mailchimp. It's a pretty easy to use software for creating campaigns to share with people that basically subscribe to your newsletter, which is what I'm going to show you today. Or you can also create it and just email it to people or post it on your social channels. But it's a pretty simple, so if you've never used Mailchimp, it's pretty easy to use. It's kind of drag and drop, and if you're unfamiliar with it, I'd say just look it up, and there's probably a million YouTube videos explaining how best to use Mailchimp. But one thing that I like to do is, obviously at the top of my e-newsletters, I think it's important to have some sort of fun logo, and not necessarily your city logo. I mean, it can be. This is not the City of Sand City's city logo. This is just the logo that I created. That's more artistic and fun, which is, Sand City is known to be a little bit more artistic and kind of a fun area. And then, just go right through this, community happenings, what's going on. So this is where you list, obviously you put city council because people want to know what's going on. But early on, when you say are just getting started and trying to get people to come to your downtown or city, you might not have a lot of events going on. So I like to throw in stuff like what you see here. Just Google what's kind of a funny holidays for that month. So International Joke Day, July 1st. Obviously, I create my own logos to put in there too, to keep with the branding. So, this little hyper cat is kind of something you'll see a lot pop up. You can see I hide them a lot of times just to keep that branding going. But go through and list stuff, because early on you might have to dig and find things that are going on, because maybe you don't have a lot going on. But find ways to make sure that there's something on there, even if you have to kind of go through and make it up. This month we actually have a decent amount of things going on, so you'll see that. But again, here, 4th of July, even if you don't have anything going on, make sure you have a post about it, just because it helps fill your event calendar up. So the other thing you can do is, if you don't have a lot of things going on and you have some things that are coming up, say in a couple months, just put in the save the date, just like we have here with our West End celebration. The murals that we're doing, I have the save the date for that. And that's always a good way to fill content as well. So the other important thing to do is to recognize your champions that you have within your downtown or your city. People that are really doing stuff or doing cool stuff. Even say your downtown's dead, there's always a handful of people that are doing something unique. So spotlight them. So that's what we do here. I try to spotlight an artist or a creative every month, kind of give a background on them, and just really fill it with a bunch of photos. People like to see photos. They don't want to have to read a bunch of text. And this will highlight people that are doing things in your city and downtown. When people say, oh, your city or downtown's dead, you need to find some of these champions that you can highlight, so people see it's not just the city manager or the executive director of your redevelopment agency that's saying stuff's going on. There's actually real human beings doing stuff, and promoting them gives you more voices to say great things about your city and your downtown. And it also gives a face to it that they can relate with. It's another person that maybe owns a business within the city. So another important thing, you need to continue, and I've talked about this over and over about sharing things that are happening, whether it's street paving or things like that. So what I do is I list all the different projects, so it's stay in the know, so people can stay in the know of what's going on. And I'll just put stuff like, are they under construction? Have they started site work? And then I'll make sure I take relevant photos of that month, so you can see, McDonald's, Ashley Home Store. This is just a commercial building. It's probably just going to be used for storage, but still, it's something else to promote. Target renovations, our big mixed-use project, site demo. Maybe have some pictures like you see here of what's coming, so they can see what's coming. And I think that's a good, important way to keep people connected to what's going on in your city. Plus, it's great for marketing for developers and investors, because they can see that there's things happening in your area. So again, if you don't have a lot of content, sometimes you can reuse things. So, I've posted before in a newsletter about, the West End refill in this particular store. But then what I do is I bring it back under a did you know, and I post something very specific about the store. So this one is, did you know that they have zero waste refill center for bath, kitchen, and laundry essentials. So, trying to reuse things if you don't have a lot to share, and, repost it in a different light with maybe different pictures and things like that. And then obviously, if you're a city, you can post about different departments that you have. I mean, this isn't going to get you a lot of traction, but it is content filler. So it's also important to, keep a running tab of and list of new businesses that opened up, so people can see that, things are changing. There's new people coming in, there's new businesses coming in, and you can list this quarterly. You can do it annually. I just do it every month. If I have a new one, I put it on there. When I was in Fresno, I would do an even bigger graphic, because we were having, a lot of great new businesses opening up. So we would show that we had 10 new businesses that opened and 19 are pending, and we would keep that list for on an annual basis. And another thing to make sure, especially if you have projects going on, so what we do, public improvement projects, I just list them all. I list a picture with them, so you can see, the information picture. You can see here's what the proposed project's going to look like, and have a description of what's going on. And I think that, gives people, even if these projects are 2 or 3 years out, at least they know that something is going on and some sort of activity is happening within the city or in your downtown. Again, we've talked a lot about the art park, so this is the first time I've included it in a post to let people know, what's going on, and to look forward for new improvements over there. Always give people an opportunity to submit, if they see something that's wrong. You might get a lot of complaints or something like that, but make sure that you always are giving people an opportunity to give you feedback. And again, if you're a city that hasn't got a lot of traction yet, make sure that you always are promoting your social channels. That's the easiest way for you to keep people connected to what's going on. Well, that should give you a little bit of idea of how I do my newsletter. I'm sure there's a lot of improvements that can be made even on the one that I put out, but there's no right or wrong way to do it. So I would just encourage you to get started on your newsletter and start posting.